Hello and welcome to another video here on what is Shopify. So in today's video, the whole point of this is to understand JavaScript. To make a quick recap of JavaScript, some front-end frameworks like Vue and Nuxt, as well as Shopify, because the whole point of this is first understand how all of these elements, all of these concepts relate each other and create and develop a storytelling process, especially when you're going to explain that to someone else, improve my communication and technical skills while putting then at practice everything that I have learned so far. So why JavaScript? Okay, so JavaScript brings reactivity to the browser, right? So you can interact with your application or your static web application, right? And you may wonder, okay, so why do we need to interact with this, or what is the beauty of this interaction? Well, is that from the user perspective, we can is receive pleasure by playing games or learning about a particular podcast or a video, as well as purchasing or selling stuff on the internet. So this is one of the powerful things of the web. And one of the things that I love from the web is now it is a window to the entire world. So whoever have internet access, as well as computer that is connected to internet, we can share almost anything, even things that we don't actually didn't want to share, you know. But that's a whole different story. So by understanding here, at least from the Zero to Mastery course of JavaScript Advanced Concepts, the fundamentals about this language, okay, such as the JavaScript engine. Again, I'm not going to dive deep into the technical aspect, just to mention about the fundamental of uh, this course, right? So here is understanding is what is a JavaScript engine, what is the JavaScript runtime, the interpreter, the compiler, and the JavaScript or the just-in-time compilers, writing optimized code, call stack, and memory heap, stack overflow, the memory heap, garbage collection, Node.js, single thread, execution context, lexical environment, scope change, hosting, function invocation, function scope versus block scope, dynamic versus lexical scope. This call, apply, and bind, and immediately invoke function expression. The fundamental is to understand how you can create this reactivity, this interactivity to the users so you can entertain them or teach them or sell them things, you know? So to understand how this is possible, it is important to learn the fundamentals. So how is JavaScript? So what is the architecture of JavaScript, especially the JavaScript engine, all right? As well as how you can interact with this engine in a way to, as I mentioned before, well, provide value to users as a video game or selling or purchasing stuff, training and teaching, okay? And also some pillars. I understand now more about language, like types in JavaScript. So what is a static and dynamically typed, primitive types, pass by reference versus pass by value, type coercion, and arrays and functions objects. And also understanding the two pillars, right, of when you're going to build this script. So it's important to understand about closures and prototypal inheritance, high order functions, functions versus objects, and a schema in Java. And now when it comes to develop, larger script or complex applications, a set of instructions that want to build or want to provide much more value to customers or users, uh, whether is uh, again by selling stuff in our case, because here we are going to focus is on the e-commerce sphere. All right, so to do that, well, the people that develop this language, in this case, the and then Brendan H, who developed this language in 7 days, and it was inspired by a lot of giants that uh, that influence the entire software field. So it's important to understand object-oriented programming, so how you can create these styles, this programming pattern, as well as composition versus inheriting, and the functional programming. Okay, as well as some extras, which are very very important when you want to scale your application. When you want to deliver it is value, particularly in the Shopify field, when you want to now make or you want to sell, you want the users to sell or buy stuff at scale in a maintainable, easy, and secure way. So like the asynchronous JavaScript, as well as error handling and models in JavaScript. So, all right. So because this is, as you can see, there's a lot of moving parts underneath the hood, and if you want to build user interface to actually make the user interact with your applications, all right, and purchase a product, all right, a shirt, for example, or some ingredients for your pizza, uh, to make our life a little bit more simple and yet complex. uh, I rely on a framework called Vue. So this was inspired by AngularJS, which is another framework, as well as React. So even you create this framework where he was an Angular developer back working at Google. Okay, so this framework, what allow us, okay, is to, so if we take a look at the introduction here. So what allow us is to help create user interface in a in a particular way, in an opinionated way for that, based on the previous experience from all of these developers that have built web applications among the years. And now they have faced some challenge when it comes to maintain and scale those applications. So two principal concepts here from Vue is this declarative rendering. So Vue extend the HTML with template syntax that allow you to describe the HTML output based on JavaScript state. Very, very important here. So what it does is to reuse the HTML elements, and based on JavaScript states, you will render HTML output. Okay, this is declarative render. And the other is reactivity, because you automatically track JavaScript state change and effect and efficiently updates the DOM when the changes happen. So before Vue, we have tools like jQuery, which is actually what it does is to manipulate the DOM in a way that you can bring reactivity to that. Okay, so with this framework, okay, that the whole point of this is to recognize that the web is diverse, and especially if you are building front end, or if you are in the front end, if you're building front end applications, it's important to recognize that you need a tool that can be fit uh, for any circumstance, because again the web is extremely diverse. So the thing that we build on the web the web may vary dramatically and drastically in form and scale. So with that in mind, Vue was designed to be flexible and incrementally adaptable. Okay, and depending on your use case, so Vue can be used to enhance static HTML without a build step, okay, embedding as web component on any page, something that a particular client wants to do for us, single page application, full stack server side rendering, or Jamstack, which is static site generation, targeting mobile, web, WebLG, and even the terminal. And this is the huge variety. This is just to mention a few of them, you know, just to mention a few of them use case when you want to build applications on the web, right? Whether it's just enhancing static HTML without a build step, okay? Or embedding a web component into any page, or creating a single page application, which is an application that can provide client-side routers, okay? So it doesn't reload that, it actually is placing fast. If you go to one to another, it's placing fast. It's fast, you know. When you go back, it's fast. It's fast. It actually doesn't do this round trip, which is something that uh, uh, the web originally was developed, right? So you have to make a request to the server responds with that HTML and stream that as a string, and then the browser receives that and passing through something called the critical rendering path to actually generate or transform all of your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code into pixel on the browser. So uh, with this understanding, right? So that what is uh, what is the goal of Vue? Okay, to allow us to build uh, user interface in a declarative way and bring reactivity uh, to that. So we don't have to handle about state change. We automatically keep track all of those state change, as well as we can decide when to render a particular HTML based on a desired JavaScript state. And then we have particular ways to create this user interface, like single file components, as well as the option API or the composition API. Okay, uh, so great, because this is just a lot of complexity to build your user interface with all of this content, or in a way that is not jQuery, where you don't need jQuery, right? Meaning in a way that is much more easily to in a way that is much more easily modular and scalable, right? As well as facing is the new user demand. So that's great. That's actually very, very good. Very, very good. So because with Vue, okay, uh, that allows to build this user interface. But remember, as we started to build small user interface, so for example, like this button, right, and then this layer, and then this side menu, and then this content section, as well as this right side index, and the nav bar, and as our application scale in complexity, okay, again to bring value to the user, particularly in this case, so I can uh, read about the Vue documentation and understand how that works. Okay, uh, so because of that, uh, in a way to make your life much more simple, or aims to improve the developer experience, there is a group of people that actually build Nuxt, right? Where, yes, as we mentioned, or as I mentioned before, the whole point of Nuxt is to aim the challenge that users are demanding on the web and make it easy to deploy your applications on there. Again, is improving the web developer experience by by allowing developers to only focus on building the web application and know how to configure all of things behind the scenes. So now, okay, since Nuxt focus on how to build web applications, okay, so it allows you to deliver an optimized user experience. So by providing you with a lot of optimization techniques, whether it's network optimization, uh, for example, link prefetching, tree shaking, code splitting, uh, as well as providing is several rendering strategies, okay, whether it's client-side rendering, server-side rendering, static-side generation, incremental state, state revalidation, I think is that, edge server rendering or stale while revalidating. So all of these techniques, all of these rendering strategies is especially to focus now on the user experience because the user actually demand that. All right. So the user demands that your website load fast. Well, it actually takes some time here. But if the user demands that your application load fast and you request that, that your application load fast and you request that, like agency, sponsors. In this case, it's not that fast as it should be. You know, it's not that fast as it should be. Okay. Job, sponsors, agency, actually it's quite fast. Once it loads that, okay, and the installation, the configurations, view, assets, it's blazing fast. Actually, it's more, uh, here this documentation is more fast. It's blazing fast than the Nuxt. Interesting. Interesting. Because it's actually fetching. Interesting. Not because I already loaded that. But it's funny because now this, in comparison, you actually load that blazing fast. It actually doesn't even blink, you know. But well, that's the promise of Nuxt, right? So they will deliver an optimized user experience, as well as uh, now it's something trusted by world-class companies. Discover and provide new developer experience by enhancing the full stack capability of a developers. So they provide a plug and play folder structures as well as automation, so you don't have to deal with monotonous and autonomous and repetitive tasks like auto import components or code splitting, minifications, bundling for production, uh, as well as some battery includes, right? To for example, fetch data, uh, yeah, like data fetching, uh, or state management, meta tags, help or meta tags helpers for your to improve the SEO, route guards, cookies, error handling, bundle analyzer, and more. So it also comes with a very active community. Uh, so that is just to describe is the reason of using each one of those technologies, right? So JavaScript is to allow and to bring reactivity to the user so we can interact when we want to play a video game or learn from the internet, whether it's from a course or from any online platforms, as well as purchasing or sell stuff. Okay, in Vue, well, allow us to build this user interface uh, in a way that we don't have to handle. For example, we don't have to keep track different state and change. Uh, and Because as our application grows in complexity, Nuxt provide a way to improve the developer experience so we don't have to focus is on all of these configurations that we need to do to build modern web applications, especially when users now are demanding that your application must be fast uh, and must work offline as well, among other features. So Nox provides a way to developers to improve that. Okay, but it's important to recognize here that even though this industry has been fed by marketing and the purchase and sale of stuff, whether it's digital content uh, or access information. So with that, now I'm looking at Shopify because a client built a Shopify app using Nuxt. Okay, so he thought that this might be a good idea once he built that application 4 years ago. But the problem is that yes, it might solve a lot of issue back then, but now Shopify has aims to be React friendly. So it doesn't matter, but as long as you learn is the fundamental of each one of those frameworks, you can now easily see the value and understand is what are the different subtle things and how they work. So now with Shopify, which is an e-commerce platform that integrates all of the e-commerce or the commerce day-to-day business operations, product management, inventory, as well as the uh, payment integrations and shipping. Okay, so Shopify provides to merchants tools so they can turn their idea to business and ultimately start to sell. So they give templates to improve the look and feel of your store, as well as tools to sell, whether it is uh, across different sales channels, social media, or to digital marketplace, as well as multiple sales place, whether it's web, the mobile, in person, brick and mortar locations, as well as uh, pop-up shop, which is this temporary retail store. Also, it provides an integrated and fast, reliable, secure checkout, uh, as well as payment processors or integrated payment processors, and SEO and marketing tools so you can keep track how your business is going. So From this block entry, what is Shopify? Okay. So Shopify mentioned that on the layer one, in the Shopify core products, you can think of Shopify as set of layers. So first you have layer one, which is Shopify core products, and this is, as I mentioned before, as soon as you buy a Shopify plan, it allows you to turn your idea into business and start selling. So it provides you all of the tools that I mentioned before. And if you want to fine tune your store and experience, so you can have access to the Shopify APIs and development tools to customize your store's capability even further. And then we have the second layer, Shopify additional products and service. And this is now once you build your store and you start. So once you have an idea, you turn that into a business. You develop your store and then you start to selling. As your business start to grow, your needs evolve too. And because of that, Shopify recognize that and start to provide you additional product and service for that. So for example, easy access to capital like the Shopify fundraising, Shopify capital and balance, okay, as well as accelerate, did you got it? As well as accelerating in payment processors. So, so they provide funds to business, of course, as long as they are on the Shopify, okay, with zero equity, of course, because after all, your store belongs to them. As long as you know how to migrate your stores to other places, that'll be good. But if you're not, that'll be painful. That'll be painful. So, so yeah, that's the layer two. And then on the layer three, okay, that's where I get in, okay, and my client too is apps built by third party and trust. Built by trust partners. So Shopify has similar to Google and Apple a store, but this case is Shopify App Store where you can find thousands of apps that enhance your merchant experience or your customer experience. So any idea you can imagine, you can find on that Shopify App Store, whether it's the newest SMA text app to the hottest new social media network ad tools, right? There's also a marketplace of Shopify experts that you can hire to build your custom solutions. So understand now the why Shopify and to make a TLDR here. The Shopify supports an entire e-commerce community, right? As well as is global because your merchants can expand to more than 175 countries except Latin. Some countries in Latin might be included, but again, you can expand to that amount of countries. Okay, 175 countries. Uh, it provides some flexibility, allegedly they provide some flexibility to improve your stores as well as the customer buying experience. It also comes with a lot of integrations out of the box. It absorbs unnecessary complexity, especially when you need tools for growth, okay? And it's built to scale with you. Why? Because all of the technical and most of the time technical. So all of this technical aspect uh, that is require you to scale to multiple users are taken care by their engineers. So, okay, this is the why Shopify. Why Shopify? It has a global commerce community as well as its merchants can spend across 175 or more than 100. So merchants can spend over 175 countries. It provide it improve and empower creativity. Allegedly, because it's not that easy to uh, extend functionality. Uh, Shopify is most integrated. It's one of the most integrated commerce platforms out of the box, as well as absorb unnecessary complexity when it comes to give you growth tools you can reach to a broad audience and is built to scale. All right, so because of that, all of these benefit, beautiful things that I talked before. Now, yesterday I look at the storefront. Okay, so storefronts, as I put it here. Okay. So storefronts allow you to personalize the front end of your website to create unique customer experience. So from their website, okay, uh, create unique way that sells to the like customers, build loyalty, and boost sales with custom storefront tools. Okay, so here they define something like touch points. So after all, the storefront uh, is a way to personalize your front end to create unique customer experience, build loyalty, and boost sales. Okay, so they mentioned something called touch points, which touch points are places of interaction with your brand. Okay, rather than channels, which are planned points of interactions, according to interaction-design.org. Okay, so these are customer touch points. Again, they are place of interactions with your brand, whereas channels are planned points of interaction. So also I look at the feature of the storefront. Okay, build custom websites. Yeah, like this. So build custom websites. They allow you to build custom websites, add commerce to your mobile app by using the Shopify Android Buy SDKs to build commerce into your mobile application. Turn gamer into customers. You can insert shopping moments into games where you engage audience already exists using Unity SDK, like this. And the other is sell on custom channels. Use a storefront API to have full creativity control for any purchase experience on the platform. So this is the features that storefront allows and provide, right? Build custom websites uh, by identifying different touch points, which are uh, places where customers interact with your brand, unlike channels where they are planned, where they are like channels which are planned points of interaction. I mean, it's inside of this uh, uh, inside of these touch points. And again, this concept is started it is still evolved in there. So you have interaction design that all mention and describe that touch points and cell channels. So yeah, the subtle difference of cell channels and touch point is cell channels are planned uh, are planned points of interactions, while touch points are customer interacting points or interact customer interaction with your brand. So there are places where customers interact with your app. So again, this definition is something that comes from interaction-design.org. I'm still reading about that. But the whole point of this storefront is by allowing you to build custom frontends to enhance the customer buying experience, boost sales, and build loyalty. So it allows you to build custom applications, add commerce to your mobile app by providing this Shopify Android Buy SDK, turn games into customers by including shopping moments in your game in your into games where your audience already where your engaged audience already exists using the Unity SDK or selling custom channels. Again, plan points of interactions. Use a storefront API to have full creativity or full creative control for any purchase experience on any platform. So now that I'm here, I would like to know more about the storefront API. Okay? Storefront, storefront API, like this. Okay. Okay, so GraphQL storefront API. So create unique customer experience with storefront API on any platform, including web apps, and games. The API offers a full range of commerce options, making it possible for customers to view products and collections, add product to a cart, and check out. Explore Hydrogen, Shopify official React-based framework for building headless commerce at global scale. Interesting. Explore Hydrogen, Shopify official React-based frameworks for building headless commerce at a global scale. Interesting. Mhm. Authentications, endpoints, inquiries, directive, rate limits, status and error code, 400 and 500 status errors, and the research. Mm. But this is the GraphQL storefront API. But what if I want to take a look at the storefront? At the storefront. Then you have the here storefront. Shopify. Storefront API like this. Interesting. Okay, so storefront. If I go to the this the storefront. Where the fuck is storefront? There you go. Storefront. But what if I want to access to there? Like this. How to build commerce anywhere. But I would like to access to storefront API. Help doc, solutions, research. What is Shopify? Shopify editions, founders, stories, branding, business growth, social media, e-commerce, CEO, SEO, marketing. Where the fuck is? Start your business, create your website, customize your store, find business apps on your site, domain. However, custom storefront, building commerce anywhere. I think they don't have anything like this. In fact, they redirect me to this, build any commerce experience. Okay, so they redirect me to the development exactly. So they redirect me to the development, the Shopify.dev. Okay, okay. So they redirect me to this, a custom storefront. Okay, you have custom storefront, themes, apps. All right, build the best commerce apps, theme, custom store, custom custom storefront, and marketplace. Oh my God. Okay, build a marketplace with Shopify. Then custom storefront. Start building with the shop store. You start building with the storefront API. Okay, custom storefront. Okay, online store and custom storefront. Okay, so alright. So this, instead of redirect me to there, my friend, come on here. So instead of redirect me to that blog post, redirect me is to the actual dump from that. Okay. So custom storefronts deliver custom buyer experience with performance storefront backed by Shopify speed, scalability, and power. Whether you're starting a new sales channel, if you remember what is sales channels, whether is example of sell channels, social media or digital marketplace, okay, starting a new sales channel, evolving your tech stack, or replatforming, evolving your tech stack or replatforming, Shopify offer a wide range of commerce integrations possibility with high level of creative control. So this build custom storefronts allow you to deliver custom buyer experience. Okay, so to improve loyalty, so to build loyalty and boost sales while delivering a delightful customer experience. Okay, interesting. However, for our use case, okay, which is for our client, we need to rely on this. Build the best commerce apps. Alright, so that'll be all for this video. Take care. Bye bye.